All right, this is the Batcave Podcast, and we're joined today by Awin, and we're gonna start by him sharing a little bit about himself and how he got started making music.
Sweet. Yeah, what's up? My name is Awin, and I don't know, I guess I've been doing it for a few years now. I've been very fortunate and lucky, like around for like a year ago. One of my songs finally like allowed me to pursue this full time, but I don't know, it's been quite nice. It's been a fun journey so far. But
Yeah, what initially drew you to making music?
um I don't know. I think I always had something musical in me. Like my parents said I was singing as a kid, but I actually vividly remember like I just stopped singing because I didn't think I was any good. So I was like, I might as well just like stop while I'm ahead. Like there's no point. My parents were telling me that. And then I remember I was just trying a bunch of different jobs, bouncing around. Um, like before, like around high school, just trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I don't know, every single job I did was just made me so unhappy and unfulfilled. And I don't know. I guess I went through so many different jobs and businesses that I tried that nothing it always pulled me back to music. Like no matter what, I would be like daydreaming about music, even though I didn't even make music at the time or sing or do anything remotely. For some reason, I was just drawn to it. I don't know why. There's no like explanation. I just was always pulled towards it. And then one day eventually I just decided to pull the trigger and like left my job, left everything behind and moved back in with my parents and just started teaching myself music from the ground up because like at the time I couldn't sing. I'd never written or produced at all before. Yeah, I don't know, it just always was lingering in the back of my mind, and I was like, if I don't try it now and pursue it now, then I'll probably regret it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and how long ago was that you moved back in and started this journey of making music? Because it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, it was like right when quarantine first happened and like COVID. It was right around the era because I remember when it first hit, my life like thankfully like didn't change much because like I was just inside the entire time. And so like I was already like working away for like 12 hours a day, just like working on music every single day, stuck like locked away in my room. So like quarantine happened and like my life literally didn't even change at all. I just never even left. And so yeah, it was right around that time is when I started pursuing it like 100%.
Nice. Was I know that you originally went by a different name. We don't have to talk about the switch over if you don't want to, but
No,
just
I'm totally down.
okay, you are okay. Just talking about like what you used to go by and kind of that influence that drew you to changing your name.
That's a great question, by the way. Yeah, so my name before was The Change, and I remember like I don't know, I never liked my well, I like my name, right? My real name is Anthony Wynn, and that was just obviously given by my parents, but it's a very common name, like because I'm Vietnamese, and there in Vietnam there's only like five last names, and so it's a very common last name. There's like millions of people with it out there. And then there's even more people named Anthony. So I was like, okay, this isn't unique enough. And I remember Googling it and it's just like a million of them pop up, like these random Facebook profiles. I'm like, okay, I can't go by this. So I needed to figure out a name. And then I don't know, I always wanted my music to stand for something bigger than myself, right? So I was like, I wanted to create some sort of like alias that was like bigger than me. And also something that I could, I don't know. I didn't really have a lot of confidence when I first went into music. It was really difficult to like see it through because I wasn't good when I first started, like at all. And so I remember like thinking, okay, like I gotta come up with something. I'm like, I think I saw a sign that said like change is coming. And I'm like, I like the feeling that that sign gave me. And I was like, wow, that's a really good like catchphrase, slogan type of thing. I was like, okay, but it doesn't sound like a name. So I was like, okay, like what about the change? And I remember thinking about it. I'm like, I kind of like it. And then I remember I cut out a piece of cardboard and then I had Sharpie and I wrote like the change on it. And I was like, this is sick. Like I like this. So I started going by that. And it gave me like that confidence that I needed at the time that I didn't have to like embody this character sort of per se and this movement within me, And so I was like, okay, maybe my music will be bigger than myself. It's going to help change people. It's going to help change lives. Like, pull people out of dark places. Like that's what I want my music to do. And so like, that's why I went by the change for a while. But then I don't know, after a while, I remember I would like cringe when like my friends in real life would like call me the change. I'm like, I don't like it, how that feels. For some reason, it stopped sitting well entirely. Like I always cringed at when people like would say it in real life. And so like, okay, I need to change my name now because for some reason I'm not in love with it anymore. I was like, okay, I kind of want to make it more personal because then I started to realize I love it when people give meanings to words. Like a word doesn't contain any meaning until we gave it meaning. And so like, when you think of like a big artist, whoever it may be, and you say their name has inherently no meaning whatsoever, but because of who they are, what they stand for, and what their music is, and how they've crafted their brand, that's what gave their name like its own meaning. So I'm like, okay, like, let me just like try my name again. But like I said earlier, like I didn't like my name. It's just too common. And so my friends in Arizona, like my best friends in the whole world, they would call me Awin, because my name's Anthony Wynn, and they just shortened it. At first it was T Win, which I don't know how we got a T in there, right? And we were like, wait, this is dumb. Like, why don't we just call you Awin? And it just stuck. And like everybody called me it. Every time they introduced me to people and new people, new friends and whatnot, and they introduced me as like Awin. Like I loved it. I was like, oh, this is cool. And like they loved it too. It'd always be like a conversation piece. Like, oh, your name's Awin, like for real? Like, yeah, it's Anthony Wynn. Like, oh, that's so cool. And so I remember like that feeling that name gave me was always great. And so I was like, okay, I think that's it then. And then I started going, that's when I changed it like a few months ago. And I've loved it ever since. Like when people call me, it feels right, And so I'm so stoked. Like I changed my name early on when I still could. But it feels really good. I'm in love with my new name. It feels at home. It feels right.
Yeah. With you mentioning at home, we can talk about one of your I mean, as far as I know, probably your biggest song. That's how I discovered you last year. And I know the song came out in April, but I think I found it sometime last summer. And that was kind of what led to me reaching out to you. Is that I like assumed when I heard it that this was like, I don't listen to the radio much, but I assumed when I heard it that it was like a song that was on the radio. And then I went to send it to somebody and saw that you had like 400,000 monthly listeners. And I was like, oh, this isn't someone on the radio. This is someone I could maybe reach out to and talk to. I should hit him up.
That's so sick.
But what was that like after putting that song out? And because that obviously changed a lot.
Yeah. So, okay. So like a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago now, I was living on my best friend's couch. Caleb, shout out to Caleb. I love him to death. He's still my best friend in the whole world. I was living on his couch because he was like I was at my parents' house, right, in Florida, and he's out in Arizona. He's like, hey man, like I miss you. Like you should just move out here. And I'm like, dude, I have no money. I'm dead broke. Like I'm still pursuing music. He's like, sick, I got you. Like, don't worry about it. Just live on my couch and we'll take care of it. I'm like, no way. I'm like, cool. So it was like a fun change of environment. And I went there and I'm like, okay, but I need some place to make music. He's like, use wherever you want in the house. It doesn't matter. And I was like, the only place that sounded good was the closet. And so I would set up in his closet every single day and go in. Like he would go to work, right? And then I would just hop into his closet for like literally like 10 to 12 hours every single day. He would work and then I would work and then I'd show him like whatever I made at the end of the day. And at that time is like there's nobody listening to my music at all. And I still didn't think my music was there yet, right? It wasn't good enough. My lyrics weren't there, my production wasn't there, everything was still lacking heavily. And so I was thinking, okay, how am I going to get better, like exponentially? How can I expedite my growth? And just get better. I'm not good enough yet. And so I was like, okay, I started researching what, the best songwriters in the world do, the best producers, the best artists. They're like, they create every single day without fault. So I was like, okay, let's do that. Like, let's write a song every single day. And then I wanted to keep myself accountable. So I started posting it online every single day as well. So I started writing and started posting it online when there was no audience. And I did that I committed for like 30 days. Well, before that I was writing like every day, but I committed to like posting online everything I wrote for 30 days. Like it was like fully written, fully produced out every single day, just cranking it out. And then like day 9 happened. And like the first like week or so, like nothing was bubbling. Nobody cared, right? I was just putting it out there to nobody. And then for some reason, day 9, it did a little bit better because I wrote the song My Home there. And but at the time it didn't even blow up. It got like a couple, like 1,000 more views and everything else. It was getting like a couple hundred. So I was like, okay, cool. People like this one slightly more, but there was no inclination to like what would have happened. I had no idea. I finished the 30 days. Still, that song never blew up and no other song blew up whatsoever. I was like, oh, damn. Like, all right, let's go back and think. Let's go back and see which one people liked slightly more than the others. Cause nothing really was big enough for me to be like, oh, like this is life changing, like not even close. So I went back and day 9 was the only other one that like had a slight bubbling over, right? Literally just a couple thousand views. And to me, that was big at the time because I had nothing. And so I reposted that one more time after. because I was like, okay, let's see what this one will do. And then that's when it actually started picking up traction. I posted it and got like hundreds of thousands of views like overnight, which was like massive for me at the time. But then what blew my mind was people started using the sound immediately. And like, when it comes to TikTok and all these platforms, these short form platforms, audio is like the most important thing. So as soon as that audio started picking up, people started using it. And it got like hundreds of thousands of videos made to it across like TikTok and Instagram and whatever. And like that completely changed like the course of my career. Like I was like on my couch, like just on my best friend's couch, Caleb, and then that allowed me to like make money off of music for the first time in my whole life. Like the first like dollar I ever saw was from like that song. So that changed everything. And then now I got my own apartment, like it's really cool. But it's all because of that song. It's all because of that song, My Home. So I'm forever grateful for it. And also like that song also named my fan base. My fan base called themselves the Homies because of that song. Like it kickstarted my career. And I was like, this is sick. I can dig it. I love it. Homies, like I love it. So